Hey, I'm Ethan.
Hey, I'm Mike.
I watched the first half of Christmas Wedding Planner.
I watched the second half of Christmas Wedding Planner.
And this is the other half.
It's Christmas time, so let's act like it.
Oh, it's time for some Hallmark cheer, baby.
Oh,
I don't know if
love
this
me a
is on.
Hallmark
I don't know if
movie.
this is actually on Hallmark.
Feels like it.
It feels like it could be.
Hallmark, Lifetime, either one of them. Pick your poison.
Pick your poison, pick your
Yeah,
slop. Which
yeah.
trough you eating from?
Nom, nom, nom,
You
nom,
little
nom,
sicko.
Netflix was trying to get on that shit too.
Oh, Netflix is they're pioneering the way. I feel like every year there was like, here's our slate of garbage. Do you want to eat it, you little piggy pig?
Little pig. Every one of these movies is the fucking same. There's either a man or a lady, and they got to go back to their hometown.
I will say Netflix throwing out some wild stuff where it's like, want to fuck a snowman, like stuff like that.
Crazy.
Like they're doing some concepts.
Yeah.
Strippers at Christmas, male strippers.
Oh, I didn't know
Sure.
about that one.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
They're doing some
There was
stuff.
the Christmas Prince. There was some other stuff there too. You know,
Yeah, but
they try to
there's
make a
royalty.
weird.
They do like a little twist, right?
Yeah.
While everything else on these other movies is like, what's the twist? They're a wedding planner.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. There's nothing else. There's
Gotta
a wedding
just find
planner.
find new jobs for these people
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, exactly.
What new work do we want to set this Christmas movie
And
around?
the thing is like, it must be really hard for them to come up with new names, right? Because like, there's got to be 7 or 8 other ones of these movies that have a wedding planner as the main character. You know?
Oh,
'Cause
for sure.
That is the perfect protagonist for a movie like this. It's like a woman or a man, probably a woman, who is a wedding planner, but she never gets to plan her own wedding, and it's always around Christmas. And she's really good, but because she's really good, she works way too hard at her job, and so she's always seeing people falling in love, but she's never fallen in love before.
Yeah, you wrote 3 different movies
That's
at least.
how it always goes.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
What do you think about a Christmas wedding, though? I feel like that's fucked up, bro. I feel like you
Never
shouldn't do
would
that.
I ever.
feel like you
Unless I
shouldn't.
was like living in another world where like the entirety of the people that I cared about and loved, like,
Didn't celebrate Christmas?
no, lived in the same hometown, like same town as me.
Oh, yes.
And like travel wouldn't be a big issue.
Yeah.
And like, you know, everyone's going to be spending time with their family anyway. And like, everyone's just like in the same town. So it wouldn't be that big of a
I
problem.
just think it's rude to Jesus. That's all
fair.
I gotta say.
That's fair.
I don't. What would Jesus do? Not have a wedding around his Christmas. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
I think it's just very rude to that, and
Yeah.
also the people have to travel very far in a horrible.
That's
Christmas.
what I'm saying. Travel
Christmas
is
era.
the biggest thing to consider.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
You don't think about like, oh well, I have plans because my family's going to be in town.
If you,
like,
if
I feel
you
like that'd
give
be
people
miserable.
enough like time and again, small town. I'm thinking like everyone you ever knew still lives in the town that you live in.
Okay,
So no one's coming in, no one's going out, no
Yeah.
one's traveling. Everyone's just staying
it's almost
there.
an impossible situation.
And that's
But this is perfect.
unlikely impossible situation.
But
This
that's
is the only time.
perfect for a movie like this, where
Or
they
if
just
you're
come up.
rich, right?
Oh,
Because
if you're
apparently
rich.
they're rich.
Oh my God, they throw money around like crazy.
They're
in this
rich,
movie.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're
One of
rich.
them's rich.
One of them rich.
Emily's rich.
Emily is rich.
Emily and her
yes.
family are rich. Todd, we don't know.
We don't know. He's a mystery. We got to investigate him.
This is the kind of shit I love. We don't see enough of these Hallmark Lifetime Netflix Christmas movies with a sense of mysteriousness in it.
A little
you
bit of
know?
crime.
A little bit of crime. Is Todd a bad guy? Is
I
he
don't
a
know.
good guy?
Yeah.
What's going on? And
And
what
it's
is
also-
Joey Fatone doing here?
It's also like a side question, you know, it's like not the main character's not involved. It's just something, another fun plot that's
right.
there.
Well, the main
right?
character's looking into it.
They're looking into it, but they're
Yeah.
not like, it's not like, ooh, is the person I'm dating bad? You know,
Right,
it's
right,
like
right.
a side.
No, the person that they're looking into it with ends up being the person they fall in love with.
Yes, exactly.
That's how it always turns
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But yeah, we need more intrigue. You know, we need like a murder, like a what is it, like a true crime murder.
Ooh, why haven't
Christmas
they done
movie.
that?
Yeah,
like
I
a
don't
fun,
know.
Like a fun,
Murder by the Mistletoe.
Yeah, well, like, you know, only murders in the building, kind of like lighthearted.
Yeah,
like
exactly. A
style
lighthearted
Chris-
murder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
fun little one where it's a little kooky. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, someone died in the elevator shaft. We
Grandma
had to figure it
died.
out. Yeah,
Somebody that nobody cares
I mean,
about.
well, Grandma was like bound to die.
Exactly. So it's like, it's
Well, what
sad.
mystery is there to solve?
Well, she died. Did she die of natural causes, or did somebody kill her?
That's so malicious. I feel like the fact that you have that malicious intent, like,
Wait, you have to have malicious intent if somebody's being murdered. What are you talking about? Murder
yes.
without malicious intent?
but like also it implies that people around Grandma weren't trusted. It needs to be someone like, it can't be Grandma. It can't be like third cousin Ernie or someone dies. You know?
What? Oh, so some random guy?
Yeah, some guy you barely know. So it's just a little bit of like intrigue. Like, ooh, we got to figure it out because
Okay.
you know cousin Ernie and his family are.
All right,
sad.
I guess her grandma dies is a little
Grandma's
sad.
a little bit too personal.
So it's got to be a pure person everyone already hates.
yeah,
Which actually works because that's like a Murder on the Orient Express situation where it's like, who could it have been, right?
yeah,
There's-
it's like no one
everyone
really likes
has a
him.
reason to hate
That's
this
a
guy.
good idea.
we gotta at the end. We gotta actually like write one of these. I
yeah,
think we
pitch
could,
that.
We can make a good one.
You can make a
yeah.
pretty good one of those. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, but this is not that.
That's
this is
not what
Christmas
this
wedding
is,
planner.
yeah.
This is popcorn ass. So like
Popcorn.
we've been
This
talking.
is something you put on the background
And don't listen
while
to.
you're scrolling through Facebook.
Yes.
Your grandma's scrolling through Facebook.
And she's like, wow, that lady is pretty. Look at that handsome couple.
Look at how pretty she looks. Look at how pretty he looks.
Wow, what a great
Is that
couple.
Joey Fatone from? Is it NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I have no idea.
Which one was Joey Fatone in? I know Joey Fatone is in this movie.
I do not remember.
Joey
Oh,
Fatone
I think he's in NSYNC.
is he in
I think he's
NSYNC?
in
It's
NSYNC.
either one or the other. It was
Oh,
NSYNC. You're right.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew my
He's the
man.
guy that runs the bar.
My friend, when I was growing up, was really obsessed with NSYNC, so I have a lot of weird knowledge about them just by osmosis. So if you mention like a name, I could probably figure it out.
Justin Timberlake.
He's Backstreet Boys.
There you go. You won. You
Yeah,
succeeded.
see, I
Good
tricked
job,
you.
buddy.
Yeah, I know he wasn't in there.
Yeah.
You know, my friend was very religious, so it was a shock when his favorite was Lance Bass. And he was very shocked when he was like, he's gay?
What a surprise.
What a surprise.
Anyone who's in a boy band is not 100% straight? What a surprise.
You do it for the chicks, dude. Anyway, so there was some intrigue, right, in this movie, and you seem
Some
to
in sync.
Yeah, yeah. No. Yeah, I guess you're right, actually.
Yeah.
Some interesting things about this movie.
Like what?
Well, you're talking about the intrigue that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, I see. That's right. Yeah. Between Todd and Emily.
But I do think you need to have a good movie to make that actually interesting, which I don't think this movie is.
No.
This movie, everything about it. It's been a long time since I've seen a movie this mediocre.
Mediocre, edging on bad.
Edging on bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, bad edging.
Bad
is what I would say.
edging.
Where it's like, yeah, this is passable. I'm watching it. I'm entertained, I guess. But like, so much of this sucks shit.
I don't know if I'm entertained or if there's just noise happening. You know? Like, that's what it feels like. It's just like, there sure is a lot of noise happening on television right now.
There sure
you
are
know?
people talking.
People sure are talking to each other.
Man, but just thinking about like how everything was framed and shot, I was like, wow.
We've seen worse.
We've seen worse, but like
Swiped was unwatchable
Which movie?
compared to this. Swiped.
Oh, Swiped was Swiped is actively bad.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
this feels like they had the idea of like put the camera on a tripod, good enough. They never move
Yeah.
the camera.
Never do
They
it.
never do anything risky with it.
Yeah.
It's the safest movie you've ever seen.
Everything is lit in a very similar way. Is this even shot like in like the winter time? Like
I can't tell.
I see the exteriors through the window and they look like bone dry. and
everything
then-
looks like sets.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
set
yeah.
as hell.
Yeah.
All these rich people houses they go to, the restaurant.
Yeah.
No
the
one's in
bar.
there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is this place gonna stay open, bro? Like, are you good?
How is this place empty during the holidays?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
during the holidays, and people are
Yeah.
coming into town. Though a lot
Yeah.
of people maybe don't have family or whatever. You know,
Sure.
it's man, it's a mess. It's been a while.
There's a lot of characters too that
this-
don't really matter.
no, yeah, they're just there.
Yeah, like there's the lady that Todd might be with. There's Todd's family.
What about all the bridesmaids?
The bridesmaids. Yeah, there's one
They don't
bridesmaid
even
that's
have
just
names?
horny.
They don't even. Oh, really? I didn't remember her. But
Oh, okay.
there's the bridesmaids aren't even have given names. They're just archetypes.
Yeah.
They're
There's
whole-
Joey Fatone. There's all these people
I
in
don't
this
know.
movie.
Is he in my half at all?
I mean, how would I know if he's in your half? I didn't watch your half of the movie.
I don't know.
He's the guy that runs the bar.
Oh,
He's the guy with the
that's-
beard.
That's Joey Fatone.
That's Joey Fatone.
It's okay.
He's seen better days.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be a little superficial and a little mean,
Oh no.
but everyone in this movie's like very conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
And then I was like, who the fuck hired this guy?
He's also not like the best actor too.
No, he's not.
He's
So I'm
just
like,
there for the name.
I'm like, why is this guy here? And he's trying to do like really bad improv with the main character Connor.
Yeah.
Because they technically own the bar together.
Right. Connor's also not like a great actor either.
No one's a great actor. I
think the main lady's
actually, lady's
good.
actually pretty good. You're right.
What's her name?
Kelsey.
Kelsey's great.
Kelsey's actually pretty good.
She's good.
She has a career. She has an IMDb page that's filled out.
She has like Disney princess vibes.
Yeah. She definitely feels like a child movie star that starred on Disney. You know,
like Joey Fatone.
Yeah, and they went much different paths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, she's great. I don't think anybody else in this movie is very good. I think maybe like her aunt is okay. Like,
yeah, she's fine.
Emily's mom is fine.
Olivia.
I think Emily
okay. has a mom.
Yeah,
She's not in my half at all.
What are you talking about? The old lady in the movie.
That's her aunt, dude. Olivia.
Olivia.
Yeah.
That's not Emily's mom.
Oh,
That's
Emily's mom.
That's
You're right.
Kelsey's
yes.
aunt.
You're right. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm thinking.
Kelsey's mom is not.
Yeah,
in this
Kelsey
movie.
ain't got no parents.
What happened to them?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you all about it. Why don't you tell me
my
about the movie
goodness.
opens?
Well,
then?
the movie starts with a quote. A very beginning quote.
A quote?
Well, a quote from me.
Oh, okay.
From the movie.
Okay.
So the audience will hear it.
Sure.
But it goes.
I'm in the business of love, which is a pretty good business when you think about it.
And I was like, this is like if I opened up any book I found at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Do they sell books at the grocery store anymore? I don't think
they do.
They do?
I think they do. Well, I guess I don't know, actually. Yeah, print media is dying. I don't know if I've seen like
a grocery store book in a decade at least.
Age.
Yeah. Dog Sage
keep bringing up
twice, 2
Dog
episodes at a
Sage,
time.
yeah.
See if we can combo it this whole holiday season.
Combo.
I don't think I've seen a book in there, but like, low tier airport. We'll go with airport.
Sure,
like
airport book,
CVS has books.
CVS book, 100%
CVS book.
The ones that are next to like God is a squirrel or some bullshit. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say God is afraid.
God is afraid. It's like Bo is afraid.
God is afraid. Don't mind if I do. A joke for
I
only
haven't
me and
nutted
Mike.
in 30 years. If I come, I die. That's my favorite quote from the Bible. Guys, watch Bo is Afraid. It's a great movie. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I know. It's like one of those things, right? The books that are at CVS.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It feels like that.
101 Bible quotes, and then this.
And then this.
Yeah.
Christmas wedding planner. It
Yeah.
starts off with pretty good business when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great, funny way when you're starting a business to, like, imagine going to the bank loan, getting a bank loan and being like,
it's a good business,
it's a good
love,
business
right?
when you think about it.
Yeah.
Love, yeah. So she says, my duty as a wedding planner is to make it the most wonderful experience for both the bride and the groom. It's going to be great. And then she enters a coffee shop and she bumps into some lady and she gets a text pop up. And I love
yes, the
this.
texts.
When did this movie come out? Like
me look it
2017, I think. So it's recent-ish.
Recent-ish,
It has the things where they do the pop-ups of the text.
I love how shitty they look,
They
too.
look so terrible.
It's like, 2017, you're right.
It's definitely like old original Android style text bubbles too.
Yeah. And they try to put it like in perspective.
Yes, they try to like latch it on, like attach it to
the
her
phone. Yeah.
But yeah, she's texting people.
Who?
We don't know. She kind of like texts to herself a lot.
She texts herself, right?
Yeah,
She's
which
texting
I have a
herself.
feeling at some point, because she always says "love you," and I'm like, oh, is she texting someone, or is she just really like one of those people that's like, I love myself, I have to tell myself.
That's what I thought. Well, the movie also has like narration, like internal narration from her.
Yeah, oh boy, does she internally narrate a lot.
So
And
you
let me
think
tell
she
you, I
probably
did-
also talks to herself via phone as well.
That's
you
a
know?
good point. Yeah. But she's like, okay, well, she gets a text from her Aunt Olivia, who's already kind of upset, and she's just like, oh, I'm going to this coffee shop. And she's like, this is my first real wedding. It's her first real wedding.
Okay. Wait, whose first real wedding?
This is the first wedding she's ever planned.
What?
Yeah.
She is not a Christmas wedding planner. She is
She's
not a professional, at least.
Well, yeah, but all professionals have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
I
you're not a
guess.
professional until you've already done the thing.
I guess you're right.
I'm a professional base jumper.
Yeah.
I haven't
I'm a
done it
professional
yet.
astronaut.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think about space a lot. That's what a lot of billionaires think anyway.
That is
They're like,
very
I'm a
true. That is the
professional
billionaire's atmosphere. Yeah.
astronaut. So she's like, I have to avoid all distractions. And of course, she bumps into our handsome man, Connor. Right there already being introduced. But she's like, oh, go ahead. That's the least I could do because you bumped into me. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, okay. So he orders first at this place called Cheery Beans. And the guy's like, Cheery Beans, or every bean brings you a smile, or some dumb shit. And it's a funny joke in the movie because he says the same thing to every single person.
Okay.
And for some reason, this guy, he orders 12 muffins and 12 coffees. And then
Why is he ordering so many?
that's crazy, right? Why is he ordering so many? I'm like, oh, office run or something.
Yeah, office. Yeah. Getting it for other people.
So he, leaves and he only has coffee with him. He doesn't. I don't see a bag of anything. He just has coffee, and I'm like, what happened to the muffins?
Yeah. They didn't want
or
to get
scones.
a box.
Excuse me.
They couldn't find a box for this scene.
I was thinking that, but he leaves the tall coffee. So she goes up and she's like, "Oh, can I get a blueberry scone?" And that's it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so
He just
sorry.
took the last one.
That guy sold the last one." She's like, "All right, fine. I'm gonna go buy it from him." So she goes up to him. Is like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I needed to buy that one scone off of you. You ordered the last one." He's like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "I'll pay you double." And he's like, "I can't do that. I'm sorry." She's like, "I'll pay you everything I have in my purse. Here's a random gift card to a place I don't know." He's like, "I can't do that. Sorry." And then he leaves. I'm like, "You're not gonna have like an excuse, like this is a very important person or anything like that?"
I assumed he was like, I can't take more money from you. Just pay me what the actual scone is worth. I thought that's what his like twist was gonna be. But
no, he has no twist. He doesn't want to give it to her.
What a fucking asshole.
He's an asshole.
I don't like
She
him.
offers him everything, and then he leaves, and she's like, "Oh, I guess I won't get that scone." And the barista comes by. He's like, "I have a plain scone and blueberry muffins from my lunch." And I'm like, who just has a bag of blueberry muffins for lunch?
Yeah, that's not great. That's
I don't
not
know
good
anyone
for
who
you.
just eats blueberry muffins.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Do people just eat blueberry muffins? Not
What
blueberry.
do you think they do with them?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My brain shorted out and could not combine the fact that I meant, does anyone just eat blueberries?
Oh,
Because he just has blueberries.
I only eat them if they come like on a plate for like breakfast. You know.
Interesting.
I don't. If I go to the store, I'm getting them to put them in something.
You put them in things. That's what I feel. I don't think anyone's ever been like, I'm just gonna eat a bunch, like a.
I feel like natives probably made them.
Well,
right?
probably yes.
Yeah, like frontiermen
Frontier people probably did.
before muffins were created.
Yeah, and they're
you
like,
know?
put this shit in bread, bro, and it tastes really good. Them shit's bitter as hell. You know that, right?
Their skin is not great. Their skin is thick. Not a fan of blueberries, but in a muffin,
I'll fuck up.
I'll fuck up a blueberry muffin.
Yeah, I think they're.
Put some butter in that shit.
They're one of my. They're like
kidding
my
me?
least favorite berry outside of any baked good, but probably my favorite berry inside of a baked good.
Nothing compares.
Nothing compares.
Nothing compares. I can't even think of another berry I'd rather eat in a baked good. Not a single one. Strawberry? No.
No, strawberry's too big.
Too
I don't
big.
think so.
Too seedy.
Blackberry is okay, but they do have a lot of seeds in them.
Too
So
many
they
seeds.
could be a little messy.
Some of those fucking blueberry
yeah, some
muffins,
blueberries, man. They go hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so hard that Kelsey has to go back to her place or back to her cousin's house, and we get this. She meets Emily. I guess they're going. I don't know. These are rich people weddings, so they
Oh,
have like
yes.
1,000 events.
You're right.
I don't know what this event is. This is just hang out with the bride and groom event, the first one.
Okay.
So she's going to that. She enters her cousin's house. Emily is her cousin, so she's planning.
Oh, it's her
something-
cousin. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
she's
right. That's
planning
right.
already for like a family wedding.
You're right.
She gets there and sees Emily, and it freeze frames, and she gets a little narration over her like what she thinks of Emily, and she says,
My cousin Emily, the sweetest woman on the planet, and the closest thing I've ever had to a sister. Stunning, rich, and oozing kindness. I should probably hate her, but it's impossible.
and I'm like, what have you noted about that you should hate her for?
Like jealous. She should be jealous of her.
Yes, but like she's nice. Like
I agree. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Is like this movie's. Maybe it's trying to curve that thing of like women should hate each other because they should like be in competition with each other. This movie's trying to
Maybe.
curve it.
Sure, I guess.
In any other movie,
but like she
she'd
doesn't
be
say like,
jealous.
oh, she's kind of annoying sometimes or anything. She just the worst thing she says is she's rich.
No, I
kinda
think
it.
she wants to hate her because she has everything she wants.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Which is not
See,
a
I
healthy way of looking.
Me,
at
I can't
things.
even understand jealousy. That's how I am.
Wow, you're
jealous.
so big. You're
I'm
so
so
cool.
big, I'm so
yeah.
good. I don't have hubris or anything.
I don't even know the meaning of the word.
No. I'm too smart to learn things like that. But then she runs into Aunt Olivia because I guess Emily's like, hey, introduce me at the party. And she's like, okay, I guess I will. Introduce me before I show up. And then she arrives late. So Aunt Olivia's like, wow, you're late. But that's okay. It's fine. And then it cuts to Aunt Olivia's the closest thing I have to a role model. But Ed, she's rich and powerful. I'm like, okay, this is very weird getting this little intro for
Very
everything.
odd. Yeah.
Like it said, it feels like a book. Like it
Yeah.
feels like you're reading a book, and it's like here's this quick little intro about what our main character
I wonder
thinks.
if it's based on a book.
I think it is.
You think so?
I did see it at the beginning. It
I'm
did
gonna
say
look this
based
up.
on something, and
I'm gonna
I
look that
was
up.
yeah.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. And and Olivia's like, tardiness isn't becoming of a new business owner. She's like, oh, sorry, I hope I didn't disappoint you. And she's like, oh, you didn't disappoint me, except I wish you brought me a blueberry scone.
Oh, now we know who the scone was for.
Yep. So she goes and introduces Emily to everyone. Everyone's happy. And then, but she looks over in the corner and guess who's there?
Connor.
Connor's there.
He's everywhere. Everywhere you look.
And she's
everywhere you look.
immediately upset and goes up to him and is like, hey, what? Oh, he's like, you knew about me? He's like, oh, I did a little bit of research, but
yeah.
It's like, so who'd you get those scones for? It's like, well, Emily's mom.
Well, there you go.
There you go, yeah.
So wait, why is he delivering them?
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But first,
can I say
yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
So I looked up Christmas Wedding Planner book. There does exist a book called Christmas Wedding Planner. Amber Brown is a newly promoted wedding planner with an utter distaste for Christmas festivities, so it can't be this one, right?
No.
Haunted by your previous memories of an otherwise happy holidays, Amber swore off most wonderful time of the year, so it can't be that one.
No, I don't believe it's the same name as the movie.
Maybe it's this one by Rachel Joan, Christmas Wedding Planners. Rebecca Scott can't wait to start her new job as an assistant wedding planner until she comes face to face with her new boss. No, it can't be that one either.
This is basically the same book. They just write it again.
I think it's two different
I think
books.
you just look. Why don't you just look at the wiki for the movie?
That's
and then,
stupid.
And then it'll show you what the book's
That's
based
stupid.
off.
Do you think there's a wiki for this movie?
That's a great question. This movie might have been wiped off the face of the earth for all we know.
Yeah. All right, I'll look it up.
We had to dig in deep, deep snow wells to get this.
There is a wiki for this movie.
Of course.
A 2017 Canadian movie. Film is based off Once Upon a Wedding
There
by
you go.
Stacey Connolly. There
Once
we go.
Upon a Wedding. I knew there was something there.
Not the same name.
Not at all. I mean, apparently it was booked up by two other books with basically the same title.
Christmas Wedding Planner was dubbed wildly bad. Common Sense Media gave it 2 out of 5 and called it a bland paint by numbers cookie cutter, not original moment.
What? No.
That's from Common Sense Media, which is usually pretty nice to any movie that doesn't have the word effing and jeffing in it. But, there you go. Anyway, tell me more about your half the movie.
But yeah, so she has to
why
meet-
is Connor there?
We haven't gotten there yet, Mike.
Oh, I'm
she has
sorry,
to first be
I'm sorry.
introduced to Marina Kemp, who's the editor-in-chief of some wedding magazine or site or something.
Yeah, that's right. The press.
And is like, oh, well, this is your first wedding for your immediate family. I hope you have a good photographer. And she says, yes, I do. I have a great photographer. And she whispers it into her ear. And I can't tell if the wedding planner person or the wedding editor-in-chief is impressed by this or scared, which is pretty good acting because I think she's meant to be holding back whatever she's actually feeling.
Right.
And she's like, okay, well, email me over the private photos because I guess these are photos for a private event, which is close friends and family. And I'm like, must be very fancy. Also, you really need to get in good contact. Olivia's helping you by hooking you up with someone who is in the industry and can help promote your business.
Right.
She's hooking you up.
It's funny because they say that it's for close family, but that lady shows up to the wedding at the end of the movie.
Not the wedding. This is a private. They're talking about a different event.
Oh.
Again, there are 30 events that these people are putting on.
So the wedding is not private?
I don't think the wedding is private. I think it's just the reception or what's the thing before the wedding?
The ceremony?
No. Before that,
what?
There's the thing before that.
The wedding, the pre.
What's the thing where all the people? Oh my god! What's the thing with all the people from the wedding party? You just hang out. And beforehand, they go to a food thing beforehand.
Oh yeah. Okay,
that sort of thing.
Got it.
Why can I not think of the name of that?
I got
hosted
married.
one.
I know I did.
know.
I can't remember the name of it is, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
That thing.
Got it.
I think
that would be private. Yeah,
or they just made some shit up. Anyway, so they go to Connor, and apparently Connor was Emily's ex.
That's right. They dated each other
in
high school.
Still not sure why he's really here, except that they apparently made up. But Olivia's letting Kelsey know the details. He could be here to steal money or ruin the party. You keep an eye on him. That's one of your jobs. And she's like, oh, okay.
Olivia's all about Connor being a money grubbing guy because he's probably poor.
Probably
he runs a bar.
Yeah,
with Joey Fatone.
So then Kelsey goes right up to him and says, "You got to leave." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, first off, he's kind of rude because he's in the middle of a conversation with someone, and she comes up and is like, "Hey, you." He's like, "Hold on." He just puts his hand up to her
I will say she's being rude because she is interrupting him
in a conversation.
Yeah, but it is also rude to put your finger in somebody's face. So yeah,
face. I'm like, I
they
don't know.
belong together.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're both rude.
Yeah.
And he eventually stops. He's like, oh, what's up? He's like, well, you're not going to ruin and break her heart again. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, we're just friends. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then you see Todd. Todd appears, which is Emily, the bride's fiance.
Yes.
He's
a bad actor.
Oh my God, he is. And
He's the worst. I'm sorry if you're listening to this,
it,
actor Todd.
And Todd is like, you know, they're like, well, he's so charming. That's basically the only thing she gives him. Doesn't even freeze frame on his face. He just says he's charming. And then Connor's like, all right, don't worry. I'm not going to ruin the wedding. Pause. But I can't promise that the wedding won't be ruined.
What?
And then he leaves. She's like, what? And she starts following him. She follows him into the car. Not into the car, but like out of the car. And he's in the back of the car. He's like, listen, why'd you say that weird stuff? And he's like, look, truth is, I'm a private investigator. I've been hired to investigate Todd. Mike is looking around like he's not heard this before.
No, I knew this. I thought you meant Todd was the one that said this.
Oh, no. He's Connor
said that. Yeah.
Said this to investigate Todd.
Sorry, I was confused because I thought Todd showed up. It was like
it's a spy versus spy situation.
No, I thought Todd was like, I hope everything goes well for the wedding, but I don't know if it will. And I'm like, what a weird thing to say as the groom.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that was my mistake. So yes, Connor is a private investigator looking into Todd.
And they're like, who? Wait, she's like, who hired you? She's like, I can't tell you.
Can't tell you. Who do you think did it? Who do you think did it?
It's probably Emily. Emily suspects it.
Okay.
That gives nothing.
I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, so she says, all right, well, don't worry about it, bucko. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then in her head, she says, I can't believe I said bucko. And there's a moment where she says that. And he looks down. And he's like, all right, listen, if you want the wedding to go off without a hitch, why don't you just work with me instead? We can figure out if this Todd guy's all right.
They're gonna join forces.
And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
What a surprise.
I'm out of here. Yeah, because, I mean, it sounds like in your half, they join forces.
They do.
So now they go to the dress trying on thing. And I guess there's like, I don't know if this comes into play later, where she's going out picking dresses with Emily. But she has a dress that she's apparently being told that she has to wear by her moms and pass down multiple times.
Oh, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking.
Anyway, so then she just pick out a dress anyway, but they somehow are like, hey, Mom, we're just doing a backup dress pick or something. So then it's like, here are the bridesmaids, and there's narration about it. It's like, first, you got all sorts of standard bridesmaids. You have the jealous type bridesmaid. She comes up and she's like, oh, this is the place I would buy my wedding dress when I get married. She's jealous. She doesn't have a boyfriend or anything.
Right.
Then we have the bitter bridesmaid who is recently divorced and hates all men. And just like, wow, well, it's still not too late to go to Fiji with me. And she's like, oh, that's cute. Emily's very happy. I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to go. And then there's the clumsy bridesmaid. And she doesn't even get an intro. She just spills shit everywhere and then just like goes and sits down. And those are your three bridesmaids. Cool. They don't have names. They just have traits.
Got it. They're not even people.
But I bet that's how an actual wedding planner probably sees bridesmaids.
Probably.
Like,
that's a lot of people to keep track of.
It's a lot of people. Like, I'll learn your name for a bit, but I'm mostly going to know your trait.
And they're going to plan more than one wedding. The fact that this lady only
this is her first
time.
Wedding, and she acts like an expert. She's always like, and here's how this goes. And I'm like, this is your first time.
Yeah, she's probably like.
She did say this is her first like
she
real
shadowed
wedding.
Other people's weddings, right?
That's true. That's true. So yeah, they're testing out the dresses. She gets a call from Connor asking one more time, like, "Hey, you want to join forces? I'm at this place. Come meet me if we ever do." She's like, "No,
I'm at this place."
And then the jealous brides start talking about like, "Oh, that Connor guy's kind of hot. We should get with him." Also, here's some lore about Emily.
What's the lore about Emily?
With their relationship is like, she dropped school for him to go with him, and like dropped all of her things to go with Connor. But then one day he just disappeared out of the blue.
What happened to Connor?
It's interesting.
What was up with Connor?
We don't know.
And
the bitter bridesmaid's like, of course he did that. And then the clumsy bridesmaid's like, you want macarons? Whoa! And drops the macarons all over the floor, which is fucking goofy. She then comes out with the first dress, and it has like, this dress sucks. All right, I've seen enough say-us to the dress that I can say,
sure,
that this
you can
dress
judge it.
Fucking sucks.
What is it? Describe it.
It's got fur.
Yep, that's the one she chooses.
Oh my god.
That's the one she wears.
She does. She immediately goes, "This is the one."
And we see it at the wedding. And I was watching this with my wife. My wife was like, "What in the fuck is she wearing?"
It's terrible.
It's awful. It looks like garbage.
It's the fur. To describe the fur is the straps that hold
Yeah.
up the rest of the dress.
yeah.
And the rest of it's just like kind of your standard like slim dress. But it's like, why the fur? What is going
The fur.
on?
The only reason for the fur would be if you were going to be cold, I guess.
Like if
but
you're going to be in the Arctic or something,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, we're having our wedding in Scandinavia or something, you know, someplace cold.
Sure, exactly.
Not like unknown Midwest
City.
town.
Yeah. No, it's an awful look. And I saw it and I was like, oh, this must be like some kind of family heirloom that was passed down, like some kind of older
Right?
dress.
Like that would be the dress. No, this is the one
No.
she chose.
Yeah.
So anyway, Todd randomly arrives. He's like, Todd, hey guys, what's going on? He's like, hide the bride. You can't see me. So she goes and hides.
Right.
And he closes his eyes. He walks in. He's like, hey everyone. So all the ladies that are here, I got presents for you. And he hands out presents to everyone, including the wedding planner. And then I got this very special one for my girl. Give it to her.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
Well, it's not a wife. Yeah, fiance. Dude.
Sorry, fiance.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
That's right.
I know you
They
watched
haven't
the
even
second
said
half,
yes
but
yet.
you know.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, thanks. And then he's like, all right, I'm kind of late, so I'm gonna leave. So
Late for what?
I don't know. But then he shuts the door, but it's like a sliding door, so it doesn't fully shut. So you know, it's like one of those barn door things that I hate.
Yeah. Yes.
And it has a little gap in it, so I hate them.
Yep.
And this is just enough so that
We see another lady behind the door, right?
we see he is flirting with
Flirting?
getting really close to, well, we don't know for sure.
Right.
He's
Some
getting very close to
blonde lady, right?
some lady. I believe her name is Michelle. She's the one who runs the dress shop.
That's right. That's right.
He's like, ooh, and he gets up in her ear and like whispers to her, and like, Kelsey sees all this, but she's also on the phone with the caterer, who's literally in the moment canceling all the catering to the wedding.
That's a nightmare situation.
Can you imagine here like seeing two things at once if you're a wedding planner? Like, first off, caterer bails like a few days before the wedding.
2, the groom is flirting with the guy, the lady that's selling the dresses.
Yeah, like that would be like too much. So all that stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then she goes up to the dress lady later afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, did you find everything you need?" She's like, "Yeah, I did." And then in her head, she's like, "Did you find everything you need? Are you trying to look for some stuff?" But then then she notices, so stupid. She notices that she has Charles cookies from Charles.
Charles, yes. Charles just a guy that makes cookies.
He's just a baker.
He's just a baker. But what a weird name to
honestly,
choose.
He's my favorite character of this movie.
Because he looks like
Shut
you.
the fuck up, Mike. But also, he's just like,
Because he looks like you and he
just
bakes.
and he's just trying to do his fucking job, man.
He is.
And
But
now
he's so
he's-
obsessed with his job.
He's very obsessed.
He's very
with his
self-critical.
He wants to do his job very well, and everyone
Yeah.
is being an asshole about it,
Yes,
or like
that's
not
true.
respecting him.
Yeah.
You know, like in the Crow episode where we watched where the tattoo man gets interrupted. He's like,
Yes.
"No one respects my work." He's
And then he
basically
dies.
that. And he
Yeah.
dies. Yeah. I don't think Charles dies.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I mean, maybe he does.
Maybe he does. You don't know how the movie ends.
But so she's like,
with
"Oh,
intrigue.
Michelle's like, yeah, I get them every morning before I come to work," and I'm like, wow, this is one of those like Hallmark movie plots where it's like no one goes and buys cookies every morning.
Also, and I'm not trying to like police people's bodies. There's no way this lady eats cookies
Well,
every single morning.
I think she brings them out for the guests.
Oh, I thought she ate like
Yeah, I was like,
cookies
there's
from
no way she
Charles
just
every
eats all
single
those
morning.
cookies every
That
day.
is so many calories to start your day off with, and sugar. Yeah,
no,
no
that's
way.
crazy.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she just leaves them out.
Yeah, okay. That
So
makes
then,
more sense.
so what Kelsey does is she's like, I'm gonna have a private session with Charles and Emily to bake all of the gingerbread cookies we're gonna give out to guests for this Christmas
Because
wedding.
it's a Christmas wedding.
And during that time, I'm gonna tell Michelle that she could swing by and pick up the cookies from Charles. And she's explaining all this to Charles, and he's like,
Right.
I don't want to be involved in this, man. I just want to help you guys in the private lesson.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's fine. So what you got to do is, delay her so that I could snoop through her like journal.
Right, her
that-
book.
Her
Yeah.
book that they wrote down in after they talked to each other.
Right.
To see what it is. Like maybe it's nothing and I'm just, overly suspicious. And it could be fine. But he's like, but her cookies are ready now. Like, I baked them beforehand. What do I do? I'm like, this is the dumbest plan I've ever heard.
You are Charles.
I'm Charles.
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
so
I just made the
I
cookies.
just made these cookies.
You want me to lie to some lady?
How am I going to tell them they aren't ready when they are ready?
I'm going to look like a bad baker.
Yeah, and then Emily shows up.
This reflects poorly on me, Charles.
Emily shows up and she's like, is this a good idea to serve my first ever gingerbread cookies to the guests? It's like, don't worry, Charles will make it. She's like, all right. And by the way, before she walks in, she clips the ribbon off of his little package he made for Michelle's cookies. And he's like, oh! And he goes and tries fixing them. And he's like, okay, well, let me know when they're ready. We're going to do the private lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, well, he's just going to fix these cookies up real quick because then Michelle arrives.
Right.
And she's like, oh, can I get my cookies? Like, they're almost ready. It's like, okay, cool. And she's like, Kelsey says, do you want to go like freshen up or something while we like get this ready? He's like, no, it seems like they're almost ready. I'll just wait here.
Right.
And then obviously Kelsey has no fucking fallback plan. So she gets the flour and just dumps it into the one of the mixing bowls.
No!
And Charles like, no, don't do that. And he has to stop mixing with the thing, with the ribbon, and goes over. It's like, you have to shift it first. You can't just dump it in there. This is not how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, I gotta clean it up. And then she fucking just throws more flour onto Emily, and Emily's like, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
And so he's like, oh, I gotta go move this over here. And she's like, Michelle's like, okay, this is weird. I gotta go make a little phone call because apparently it's gonna take a while. So I gotta see if someone can open the shop for her. She takes a phone call. Everyone's a little preoccupied. Kelsey goes and sneaks up and looks and sees a message in her notebook that says, hey, gorgeous, let's have a meeting at Turbo on Wednesday.
That is very
suspicious.
Very suspicious. That is damning.
That's damning.
Yeah.
And then finally, it's like, okay, we're all fine. She's like, you know what? It's fine. You don't have to do the ribbon. I'm just going to go and do it. She can't open. He's like, but my ribbon, She takes it and leaves. It's like, okay, fine. Charles now ready to give his lesson on the gingerbread. And he says, do you guys, first, before we make gingerbread cookies, you need to know the dark history of the gingerbread cookie.
What the fuck?
And I was like, oh shit, I'm so excited to hear this.
They cut away.
No,
Well,
they don't.
we stick with the dark
stick
history.
with it a little bit.
Okay.
But Kelsey's not paying attention. She's got a message from Connor asking, like, do you want to join my fucking investigation? I'm like, no, I don't give a shit about this. I want to know about the dark history of the gingerbread cookie.
You just want a whole show.
And he's like, this was brought over by like a priest in the Dark Ages.
They let this actor just fucking,
yeah, he was having a good time.
Yeah, he was just improv.
And he's like, also, a gingerbread cookie is not a cookie at all. It's a cornestable sweet loaf. And it's like, oh,
this guy knows what he's talking about.
I'm like, but that's not that dark of a history. And then it cuts away.
I'd watch this guy's YouTube channel.
I would, yeah, right.
It's like the tag, like the thumbnail is like dark history of gingerbread.
Yeah,
man?
that you didn't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so she goes and meets Connor in the restaurant because at this point, obviously, he's doing some shit. This Todd guy ain't up to snuff.
Yeah. This Todd guy, he's up to something.
He's up to something.
Can't trust Todd.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to give in to this guy because Connor's kind of an asshole. So
Connor's not a great guy.
So she sits down and she's like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." I was like, "Do you want to order anything?" He's like, "Yeah, of course. I brought you over here because I thought, my lady's got to eat." And I'm like, lady, weird thing to say, but she's like, well, I don't. He's like, I'll order for you. I know I've gotten everything off the menu. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no. I'm gonna order for you off the menu. I can do it myself.
Yeah, she's an independent lady.
Yeah. So the waiter comes by. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm vamping a lot, and I'm like, why? Why are you talking so much? Why do you have so many dialogue? Why do you have so much lines?
Who?
The waiter, the other owner. Joey Fatone?
Yeah, Joey Fatone. He's vamping.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you get your order. He's like, okay, well, I want to order whatever you're cooking back there. It smells really good. So I want one of those. And for him, I'm going to get the lobster. And he's like, and the Joey Fatone's like, you sure you want the lobster? I'm like, man, is this lobster fucking rank? Like, what's going on?
It is a bar, right?
It's like a bar restaurant type situation.
I still wouldn't order lobster at a bar
wouldn't order a restaurant. Yeah,
I wouldn't order a restaurant in a bar lobster situation.
I wouldn't order a restaurant in a lobster. My lobster's gonna fuck me up. He's gonna pinch me. She's not gonna give me a restaurant.
Yeah.
He's gonna attack me. You cannot have me, he says. And he pitches me. And we're like, I want a restaurant. So he's like, all right, I'll order it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, I order everything off the menu. He's like, it's fine. So no more secrets. Let's work together.
Right.
And she's immediately like, who hired you? He's like, I can't tell you that.
Can't tell her.
It's like, fine. All right. So
Weird that he can't tell her, but he can't tell her.
So what are some leads? She's like, well, there's some leads that his family actually isn't doing very well. And I thinking maybe just going after her for her money.
Yes.
So I hear they're having a tree trimming party, which I'm like, yes, what? You made that shit up. Whatever, I guess.
Just need to come up with like things that happen around Christmas
and
time.
she's like, yeah, I'm planning it. And he's like, perfect. Why don't you get me in there?
Mm-hmm.
And it's at the fiance's dad's house.
I like how he's saying where it is. Like she knows where it is.
Yeah, it's true.
She's the one planning it.
Yeah, exactly.
So why is he telling her?
Well, he's saying there's a good opportunity for him to sneak up if he gets in there, sneak into his lounge or whatever, his study.
Got it.
And and figure out what's going on.
Got it.
She's like, okay, we could. I suppose we could do that.
Sure.
And yeah, he's like,
let's possibly do this.
Let's possibly find.
I'll find the time to put this together.
We could go together. Just say it's like I'm your date or something like that.
Sure.
No, whatever.
Sure.
Anyway, the food gets delivered, and she takes a bite of her pasta or whatever. She's like, oh my God, this is so good. Hey, can you be a caterer? And
oh my gosh.
Joey Fatone's like, I've never done a wedding cater before, but I think I could do it. I just have to talk to my partner. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, that'd be cool. And then he looks over at, this is when we revealed that Connor also is the partner of the company. He's like, can we do that? And he's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. We do catering. She's like, wait, you own this place? Like, yeah, that's why I tried everything off the menu. Like, I know everything. Oh, okay. And she starts digging into her food. She's like, you're not gonna eat your lobster? And he's like, well, I can't. I'm allergic to shellfish. So if I eat it, I die. And honestly, it was a pretty funny moment. This is like the only time I giggled. This is the only time I was like, these two are somewhat charming.
They have a little bit of charm, but they are really forcing it.
They're really forcing it. This is the first one that felt genuine.
Yeah. Wait. She was the one that ordered the shellfish for him?
Yeah, but she didn't know. That's why Joey Fatone was like, are you sure you want her to order the lobster for you? And he's like, yeah, it's fine.
Waste a lobster.
Well, they switch, so it's fine.
Oh, so she got to order. She
takes the lobster.
Good.
And then she got food poisoning. No,
yeah, exactly.
So she's getting ready for the trimming party. She's texting a random person like, I'm waiting on a guy who I don't even know, and he's gonna be late. And sends it like, love you. So then she goes, and Olivia's like, you're late. She's like, I'm sorry. And Olivia calls her and says, actually, I can't make it. I don't want to hear about their stupid boat. I hate them. And she's like, okay, I'll make an excuse for you. So she goes, and she's like, oh, I'm waiting for someone who's going to fail me my first wedding gig. And he's late. She says, you're late. He says, that's okay. You do your little thing to distract you. Like demeaning her job, being like, whatever, do your fucking thing. I'm going to go do what I'm doing.
Which is what?
Gonna go sneak into his like study or whatever. So he's going around to all the help, asking him like, hey, you get benefits here? You get any good support? You get tips? You doing okay? You getting paid
well? Yeah.
So Mr. Bragner, which is the Todd's dad, comes by and he's like, oh, thank you for coming. This is a beautiful. He's like, oh, you got a beautiful home. It's like, yeah. He's just. Connor's like, this is my, I'm her boyfriend. He's like, oh, that's nice. She's like, what? You're my boyfriend.
You're not my boyfriend. We're not dating. We're just friends.
We're just friends. And he's like, sorry, we're a bit understaffed here. I had to fire some people because they stole some stuff. And he's
What'd
like,
they steal?
I don't know. And he's like, yeah, you can't trust people these days, says Connor. And then he leans over to her after he leaves and says, see, they're broke. They can't afford people anymore.
See, now this is okay. I hate to say this as a movie that I did not like. This is actually really good setup for the end of the movie.
Oh, for the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's all very good setup.
Okay. And so she gets stuck talking to the mom, who's like, I'm going to paint my boat again. What do you think? And she kind of trails off because she's watching Connor give his card out to like random people in the help. She's very distracted. And she accidentally agrees to the mother-in-law singing in the first dance.
Okay.
Thinking that's a great idea.
What is she going to sing?
I don't know, it sounds like a Celine Dion song. It sounds like My Heart Will Go On or something. Because she says, I sound like Celine Dion. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. She's like, I gotta go talk to this annoying bridesmaid. So he sneaks into the study and is like, help me figure out the password. And she comes in as well. They're like, okay, what's the password? He's like, these rich guys always think of something so obvious and annoying. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
close, but there's a big picture of a boat, and the boat has a saying on it. And he types in the
Oh.
saying, and it's the
Escape
password.
room.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
And it's so like I see the picture of the boat as soon as we come into the frame. It's like so obvious it's there.
See, this is a well put together little, very well crafted, mystery.
Sure,
They got a little thing there.
Baby's first mystery.
Baby's first mystery.
Yeah. So then,
Mommy's
they
first
actually
mystery.
get in. It works. But they start downloading it. And she's like, "Can you go any faster? Like, where
We're
they
gonna get
come in?
caught."
We're gonna get caught."
Yeah.
And then you hear the dad.
Oh
He's
my
starting to
God.
show up. He's like, "Oh, I got a bottle in my study." And he comes up, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna get caught."
They have to kiss.
So, yes. Her instinct is to grab him and start kissing him. And
Yeah.
then
Whoa.
he's like, "Oh, what are you doing in here? What's going on?" He's like, Connor's like, "Hey, you know what I mean? Sorry, I had to get away. We you got to keep your woman happy, right?"
Whoa.
I know. And then he's like, "Nice. Carry on." Little freak. He's like, "Carry on. I bet these young people fuck in my office. That could be something."
Can I watch?
Yeah.
I'm just in here to get a bottle.
I'm
Let me
just gonna turn on my webcam. On
Yeah,
my computer
exactly.
And save that. So he gets his bottle and leaves, and then he's like, "Whew, we made it. I'm glad it worked." Weirdly, no awkwardness or anything. They're just like, "Yep, that's what we had to do."
That's the job of being a wedding planner.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
a PI.
Yeah, exactly.
When they combine forces,
A
subtlety.
wedding planner and a PI together. This is what happens.
This is it.
Sparks fly.
Sparks fly.
Yeah.
Kelsey gets a message from Olivia. Olivia's mad, and she's just over it. She's like, whatever. But then she says, like, all right, seems like you're too busy to pick up the phone. So meet me at the house. We have to have a talk.
Oh.
And then she flashes back
to when she was a little
girl, and Olivia's there saying, like, you know what I'm about to say? Why we don't push boys around? And she says, yeah, because a Wilson is a Wilson inside and outside the house. Cut to another year later.
Yep.
Why don't we yell sexist pig at our school principal? Because a Wilson woman is a Wilson inside and outside the house.
Yep.
And then as an adult or like an older, probably in college or something.
Yep.
Like, why do we not like hang out with boys late at night? And then it's end of my half.
She says the same thing.
Wow, I was expecting something different. No, because she said a joke. She said, "Shave our legs before we go in."
And then
see him.
And then she says a Wilson is a Wilson inside and outside the house.
Yeah.
So I came in with the children talking. I'm like, what is this movie? Now I understand what this movie is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kelsey is interested in Connor, we learn, but her aunt is suspicious of Connor. She makes it known that Connor is possibly not to be trusted.
She still doesn't trust him.
She doesn't trust Connor.
So why does she like Connor? He seems like an asshole still.
Why does Kelsey like Connor? Because they kissed.
Oh, that's it. Okay,
That's pretty much it.
cool.
And
sure.
she says that he's funny and he seems to be caring. We meet
okay.
Charles, who is a baker, and he's very self-hating. He's like, why did I put lemon in this? I should have put this other thing in this. And he was like, he's getting so obsessed over this. And I was just like, this actor got the best part in this movie.
Yeah, he could have so much more fun.
Oh, it's so, like, he's barely in it, and he's absolutely, as a baker, he is eating up the scenery and everything.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely
really cooking
killing
in
it.
there.
He's cooking. And let him
Although
cook.
they did say, let's get cooking. And he said, no, it's baking.
He fucking rocks.
He's good.
This actor rocks. So that he's like, I gotta go fix this. I'm gonna leave. And so he leaves the room, and we learn that
I'm deep throating a beer.
he really is.
Get every last drop.
I learn about who Emily is and that they are related. And I learn that Emily used to date Connor. And so Kelsey's like, I hope that wasn't awkward that I'm with Connor now and that he used to date him.
Wow, they're already dating now. They're just I guess because even as a pretending they
Yes.
have to be together.
She's like, I hope that wasn't awkward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, this is very spicy. Like, oh, Emily used to date this guy, and now, you almost never see these sorts of things in these movies. I'm like, oh, here comes a little bit of intrigue. But no, Emily's like, well, we dated in high school. Like, it wasn't, like, it was very long ago, and it wasn't, like, serious, you know? So I'm like, oh, okay, so it wasn't, like, that big a deal. It didn't wind up together. Okay. I learned that Kelsey is spying on Emily's fiance with Connor. This is where I like start to figure all this out. But Kelsey's like, this is all too much. And she's texting this to her. She's texting this. Like, we see text messages, but no one is responding. And she's basically like texting her internal monologue of like, this is too much. I need to drop out. I need to tell Connor that I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, is she like?
It's a lot of pressure.
I was like, is she talking to herself? Like, is she just texting herself? And so she talks to Connor. She goes to meet up with Connor at the bar that I guess Connor and Joey Fatone like run. And she's like, I want out. I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, well, here's the thing. It's 3 more days till the wedding. And I think if you just stick with me for 3 more days, we might be able to figure out what's going on. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, there was no, like, how did he convince her? Like, I don't understand how she's just like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, just do this for 3 more days. And she's like, okay.
Fine.
Yeah. I'm like, all right,
if you
fine.
say so.
It's revealed that Todd has a mysterious dinner date with the lady who makes the dresses or whatever.
Okay.
So the 2 of them are going to follow Todd all day and then follow him to the dinner date. That's the plan, basically. Okay. So they scope out Todd. Kelsey is dressed like an obvious spy as they're like watching Todd from a car. Todd nearly sees them, so Connor has to push Kelsey over and they fall on top of each other and they're like laying on top of each other in the car.
Sexy.
It's all very sexy. So they finally they arrive at a restaurant where Todd is going to meet up with some lady and no one is at the table yet. Todd is all by himself at the table. And Kelsey and Connor are at a separate table sort of further away from them. And they're watching and they're scoping out and they're like, nobody's coming. I think he's all alone. And then all of a sudden a waiter comes by and the waiter says,
Getting a little bit of a first date vibe here. Wine?
Oh, no, we work together, but thank you anyway.
Office romance?
No, not exactly.
Yeah. We're not allowed to date here either. Forbidden love. This calls for a Shiraz.
and then he goes away and gets like
These side characters in this movie are great.
Guy's killing it. I'm like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's going above
That's why
and
it
beyond.
sucks when Joey Fatone's here, and you're like,
What are you
come on,
doing?
man? What are you doing, dude? You're really not bringing anything to this.
So Kelsey pulls out her phone. She starts texting like herself again. I don't know who she's texting. And Connor sees this. And Connor like reads her texts on her phone and says
He's
like,
a private investigator. You can't blame him.
that's what he says.
Because
He's
he
like,
calls her randomly and before she even gives her a number, and he's like, I found it, you know?
so he says like, I'm a private investigator. It's second nature for me to read other people's text messages, which is like, if you're going to be in a relationship together.
That's true, but also, you know, you can turn that off.
You'd think.
You would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, it was second nature. Not just being like, that's just what I do.
That's just what I do all the time, every day. I look at everyone's phones.
It's weird. Just this guy just does not like apologizing.
No. So here's where she explains who she's been texting this whole time. Guess who it is?
It's her mom's old number.
Yup. Her mom is dead.
Yeah.
She's texting her dead mom on the phone to
There you
keep her
go.
up to date, and she pays her mom's phone bill so that she can continue to like.
You don't have to do that part.
You don't have to do that, but she does it
well,
anyway.
I guess no, because at some point her number will get released and she'll text a
She'll
random
be
guy.
texting some random person.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually did see a social media post somewhere where it was like, I actually do text my dad or something like every day on his birthday, even though he passed away. And then someone just messaged back and said, who dis?
You up?
You up?
So then the waiter brings by some candles and some chocolate covered strawberries and the Shiraz, and they're like, you know what? I think everything's okay. Like nobody's showing up for Todd.
Let's just hang out.
Connor's like, I kind of looked Todd up and it looks like his family's not hurting for money.
Okay.
So he's like, I think everything's pretty okay. So this turns into like a little date and they start flirting and they're like, you know, he's like, you know, it was, you know, I'm sorry that, you know, we had a kiss the other day, but, you know, it wasn't that bad. And she's like, well, you know, you weren't that great of a kisser. And he's just like, well, I'd like to give it another shot. And she's just like, oh, well, maybe I'd be amiable to that. But then all of a sudden, a lady arrives
Uh-oh.
at Todd's table. And Kelsey sees this. And she's the lady from, I'm assuming, the dress shop.
Oh, yes.
And so she sits down at the
Michelle.
table. Michelle sits down across the table from Todd. Kelsey's like, let's fucking go. And so she gets up from the table and walks over to where Todd and Michelle are having dinner. And she starts to confront them very loudly in front of the entire restaurant. She's just like, Todd, you are despicable. You know, I don't ever want you to hurt Emily again. I don't want you to hurt Emily. Who is this woman? You shouldn't be like having secret dates with women. And then it all starts to unravel. Basically, Todd says, this is the lady who's making Emily's dress.
Okay.
I am here to meet with her so that I can pay for it. And then Michelle's like, and my husband owns the restaurant that you're currently in, and he's the one that set up the date. And I'm like, this doesn't hold any water to me. I'm like,
yeah, this is
why
not
are-
an excuse. Like,
yeah, why are you still on a private date?
I pay many people for services.
I don't
if you know
go
what
on dates
mean.
with them.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
go on dates with them. I just am like, here's my Zelle.
And then she's also like, my husband's the one that set this date up and he runs the restaurant. I'm like, all right, let's talk to your husband then.
Yeah.
But basically this just deflates Kelsey. She's so embarrassed by this. Also, it's never mentioned the fact that like in the book he writes gorgeous in it. Like that's never brought up. It's just she's just sort of like, you looked at my book, what a fucking weirdo. You know? Not the fact that like the note in it sounded as if Todd was coming on to him.
Yeah.
So Kelsey's super embarrassed about it.
I always say that anytime I have someone over, like, look at my plumbing, I'm always like, thanks, gorgeous. Put that in my Zelle.
And then you meet up with them on a little dinner date.
Yeah, I go hang out at the local burger parlor, and then I put them little kissy emojis. Always. It gets you, it just gets you better service.
Oh, I mean, you get to pay less.
And it's so my girlfriend can have the best plumbing around.
Exactly.
Should have said that out loud.
Yeah,
That
I was
came
going
out
to say.
a little bit different. A little weirder than I thought.
A little weird, but that's fine. It's fine. So Kelsey goes to her aunt, and her aunt says,
Are you trying to run your whole life or just this job?
How long did it take you to come up with that line?
Well, I had the basic line. And then when Charles came over, he helped me perfect it when he delivered the gift.
I've been sort of putting it together.
Oh, sha-la-la.
And this is when she reveals. She produces 2 checks written by her husband, Kelsey's uncle. Okay? One check from a decade ago when Connor was in when Connor and Emily were first dating. And the aunt says, we wrote this check. Your uncle wrote this check to Connor and told him never to see Emily again. And he took it.
Oh.
And then here's a second check from a couple of weeks ago when Connor was hurting before your uncle passed away.
Oh.
Connor came over to get money from him. And,
Okay.
yeah. And Kelsey's like, what the fuck? Connor never told me any of this.
No.
This is very damning.
Yeah.
Very, very damning. And so she's very upset. And so she confronts Connor about it, and Connor's like, you don't understand. Like this, there's more to this story than you know. And she's just like, never talk to me again.
Ugh, I hate when they do that shit. It's always in these movies where it's just like, I can explain, and the other person just doesn't want to hear it.
No.
It's like, I don't know if I've ever been in a situation where I've been
You don't
really
wanna hear
mad at
the
someone.
other
I'm
guy
like,
out.
no, I want to hear your fucking half.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, throw it back in your face or whatever. Like, I at least want to hear it.
Right, because then you can use that as ammo.
That's what I
right?
would think. But
How are you gonna weasel out of
there
this?
are so
one?
many other movies. This is such a common trope. I just feel it's bad.
Well, you say
writing.
this. What do you think is the reason behind it? Because as you know, obviously Connor and Kelsey have to wind up together. So what's going on here with the checks and stuff?
He probably just needed money or was being blackmailed or something.
This is so good. This is so good. This movie is setting up all the pieces together. So
Oh, boy.
the movie is setting us up for, at first, we're supposed to trust Connor, and Todd is a bastard. And
Yeah.
now we realize Todd is just a guy that goes out to dinner with the people he's buying stuff from.
Yeah, I buy
And then
it.
Connor's a bad guy
Uh-huh.
who takes money from old people and breaks up with people over money. And so Kelsey texts her mom about her heartbreak. And she's just like, I thought I loved someone and I don't love them anymore. And so then Connor goes to the bar and talks to Joey Fatone. And he finally admits, he's like, I love Kelsey. Kelsey means so much to me. And Joey Fatone's like, yeah, man, that's right. That's great. You gotta love her. You gotta talk to her about it. But I knew it. I knew you loved her.
Yeah.
I knew it. I'm Joey Fatone. I don't know why I'm doing this weird accent for
I
Joey
mean,
Fatone.
it fits his vibe.
It does.
It does.
It's the wedding day.
Finally.
And Kelsey goes up and apologizes to Todd.
Is their wedding just straight up on Christmas?
Yeah, it's on Christmas.
What a fucking asshole.
It's going to get worse. So Kelsey goes up to Todd and is like, hey, I'm really sorry about all that. And Todd's like, look, here's the thing, man. I told you that I wasn't going to tell Emily about all this. I haven't told Emily anything. And I was watching this with my wife, and I'm like, we were both in agreement. It's like, what a weird thing to go like, I won't embarrass you and I won't tell Emily about this meeting. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you were like doing something behind her back, you wouldn't want to tell her about
there's
it. You
no
know,
benefit. Like,
this makes you
obviously
look
you're not gonna-
worse.
Yeah, obviously you're not going to tell her.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Joey Fatone calls up Kelsey and he's like, hey, so I know I'm the caterer, but my freezer broke. And
God.
yeah, everything's going wrong. And Kelsey's like, oh my God, I'll be right there. So she has to leave the wedding, go to Connor's bar, in Joey Fatone's bar, and she arrives, but actually it's all a ruse so that she can come by and Connor can apologize.
Got him.
Here is Connor's explanation. I'm going to give you one more chance to guess as to what's going on here. It's fucking stupid. I'm not sure if there's any way that you can get this.
I don't know. All I can think of is that like he needed the money because his parent needed surgery for cancer or something.
Something reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Something that would be helpful, right?
Yeah.
So he says that he took the money because he thought it was a loan in order to keep Joey Fatone's bar open. But
Okay.
I think they were underage, like they were in high school or something.
I guess they were in college, maybe.
Were they in
I
college?
think they were in college, yeah.
I thought they were
She
in high
said dropped
school.
out of school, which
Okay.
makes it sound like college.
I guess that's true. But yeah, they were still pretty young to be like running and operating a bar.
Yeah.
But he basically took the money thinking it was a loan to keep the bar open. And then he went back. And then Emily's dad was like, oh, you took that money? I never want you to see Emily again. And he says, if you ever talk to Emily or tell Emily, I will say that you blackmailed me. And I'm like,
What?
What? Yeah, I watched this scene like 3 times. I don't know how Emily's dad blackmail. I don't know how Emily's dad was going to go like, oh yeah, Connor blackmailed me. For what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I guess the only thing you could say is just like, you're obviously going to believe the rich guy?
The dad?
I guess. Be like,
The dad's the one that's like,
why would he give him the money for it? What was the reason behind it? And is it like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't
No,
know. It
makes no
doesn't make any sense to me.
no,
But it
no.
also makes makes Emily's dad look really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. And so but she doesn't believe him. And I don't believe him, to be completely honest with you. It's a really bad explanation. And so she ends up leaving. She's like, I don't want any of this. So she leaves the bar and she goes back to the wedding and she has to explain to her aunt, like, yeah, Connor's dead to me. I never want to see him again. And then, her aunt's like, yeah,
Hell
that makes
yeah,
sense.
that guy sucks.
He's a bad guy. And then we come back to Connor and Joey Fatone's bar, and Connor, it looks like he's fucking getting ready to like hang himself or something. And then all of a sudden, the little door opens.
An angel gets its wings.
A door,
Oh, okay.
a door opens in the bar. The bar door opens,
Mhm.
and in comes this woman.
Oh,
And she's noticeably pregnant,
okay.
and she's like, "Are you Connor?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Connor." And she's like, "You reached out to me about Todd." And Connor's like, "Oh yeah, come on in here, let's talk." And that's the end of that scene. So we're back to the
he knocked
wedding.
a lady up.
We're back to the wedding, baby. And they mentioned that the wedding's gonna have a surprise musical act, and I'm like, in sync.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you imagine him getting
how
up there?
great would that be?
In sync, but just Joey Fatone.
But just Joey Fatone, because it's the only one we can afford. And then, so the wedding is starting. There's a whole procession. It's so obvious. I love this bit too, where it's like the aisle down the church is not very long, and they only have like a handful of like extras to like populate the wedding. So it's just like they only have enough extras to fill up what's on frame. So I imagine this church being really big, but they just moved the camera really close to the altar so that they don't have to fill up as much of the rows as they need to.
Everything in this did feel like we're running out of extras. I see a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, exactly. So the wedding is happening. Everyone's going down the aisle. They're about to say their I do's. They're just like, does anyone have anything to stop this wedding?
Any objections?
Nobody says anything. And they're like, well, okay, Todd, do you take Emily as your awfully wedded? I object! And in comes Connor. And everyone's like, get that fucking guy out of here.
We
He's a
hate
fucking
that guy.
we hate that guy.
Yeah, he sucks.
And he's like, I must object because Todd, does she look familiar to you? And in comes the pregnant lady.
Oh my! You know what? This Christmas is pretty good now. I'm
It's pretty on the edge.
I'd be pretty
now
happy.
you remember how they were like, we've had some trouble with the help recently. We've had to let people go.
Oh.
Yes.
She's one of the helpers.
She was like one of the maids or something.
Sure.
And Todd knocked her up and said that he was going to leave Emily. But then he didn't, and they kept her on for a little bit longer. The family kept her on for a little longer. But then
showing.
when they realized who the dad was, then they fired her. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I'm like, wow, all this was kind of interestingly set up in this movie. Like all of this was kind of like led up to
The actual like construction of the movie is kind of interesting.
It's kind of interesting. And so Veronica is her name. And so yeah, the wedding is obviously off. Yeah, and it's a great moment where Emily is just like, Todd, what do you have to say for yourself? And Todd it's like, Dad, what should I say? Like he doesn't know what to say to all this, basically.
What a baby.
Yeah. Wedding's off. Emily's very upset. And Emily goes, she's like in her shitty, ugly fur dress.
Yeah.
In snow outside, which fake snow, I think, outside of the church. And Kelsey goes over and she's like, so you want to go to Mexico? Which I think is sort of like a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Fuji.
And Emily's like, no, I don't really want to do anything. I feel really bad about all this. This day turned out to be really bad. And then Connor comes out of the church, and this scene was so weird. And I think it's the way it was shot. It looks like Kelsey is on a green screen, but I think it's because they put down a bunch of fake snow and the lighting like is hitting the snow and like shooting her in such a way that she doesn't feel like she belongs in the background. Like it looks very bizarre. And so there's a reverse shot of like Connor coming out of the church, and he looks like normally shot because I think he's on like normal ground. And then they come back to Kelsey, and Kelsey's like shot from beneath, and she looks like she doesn't belong in the background that she's in. The shot was fucking bizarre. It almost looked like they were shot at separate times. And Connor's like, hey, Kelsey, I'm really sorry about how all this went down. You know, I know this was your first wedding, and I feel really bad about it.
Wedding.
You know.
Yeah, well, he's got a couple.
Well, it was her first wedding planned.
Oh, I guess you're
Kelsey,
right.
yeah.
Kelsey, yes.
And so he's like, I really feel bad about that. But he reveals that who hired him. Who do you think hired him?
Emily.
You said that before, but it has been pre-established that 2 checks were written out to Connor, both by Emily's uncles. So the first one was her uncle saying, like, I never want you to speak to Emily again. The second one was like, I need you to look into Emily's fiance before I die.
Oh.
So Emily's uncle was the one, or Emily's dad.
Okay.
Kelsey's uncle, Emily's dad was the one that wrote both checks.
And he died.
He died.
Dead. Yes, because I didn't mention that, but like during the whole toast on the first meetings or whatever, Aunt Olivia's like, oh, I just wish my husband was here to see this, but he'll be happy you're all here.
So Emily's dad fucked Emily over twice, if you really think about it. Like, obviously in this case it worked out, but like in both situations, Emily's dad gave money to Connor, and in both situations, Emily wound up falling out of love with somebody. You know? It's kind of weird to think about in that way.
Strange.
But yeah, so that's who the client was. And then Connor's like, he's like, Kelsey, I love you. And they kiss each other. And then the aunt comes out and apologizes to Connor. And I'm like, honestly, that's too little too late.
Yeah,
like,
way too little too late.
This was a massive, flagrant, like, you know.
So she knew about the checks?
I think she's realizing. Okay. I think now she's come to terms with what's going on. And then Connor's like, Kelsey, I have one more thing. And he gets down on one knee. And he's like, I want you to marry me.
Oh, wow.
And Kelsey's like, I don't know who you are. Like, I've only...
That's crazy, dude.
Only been together for
That's fucking crazy. Connor's a crazy person.
And Connor's like, well, we have the rest of our lives to figure it out.
Oh, my God.
And then I'm telling you, it gets worse.
She's planning her own wedding.
And, well, no, well, kind of, but no. And then Kelsey's aunt, the one that was like, you should never wind up with Connor, he's a bad man, takes off her ring and gives it to Connor so that Connor can propose properly. She
feels super
Kelsey.
bad about him.
And then they're like, well, we have a wedding planned. Let's get married.
So they just get married right now?
And Emily is there at the front of the church as the bridesmaid for Kelsey on the day that she was going to get married in the same place. On the same day. And they have this long shot of Emily just smiling.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess if you're happy, you're like, well, I got out of that horrible situation.
Yeah.
Might as well use this. At least this money didn't go to waste, I guess. I guess it's somewhat happy, but still,
but
it's like dude,
for
that
fucking
sucks.
the same day, the same place. Luckily, not the same dress. She's wearing a different dress, which I don't know how she got a hold of a different dress.
It was probably the hand-me-down dress that they probably were
There you
like,
go.
oh well, we're gonna have this like.
See, it's all
one.
been pre-established.
That's the backup dress.
And that is the end of the movie. Is they wind up marrying each other
Wow,
on
that was
Christmas.
wild, that day.
She planned her own wedding. That fucking ending, I was like,
so stupid.
absolute fucking insanity. And I'm like, this is the beginning of Emily becoming a murderer
Yes!
or something. Like, never trust any man, never trust my family.
She's gonna
Just
become
go behind your
she's gonna
back.
become the bitter bridesmaid. She's gonna hang out with her bitter bridesmaid friend.
Yeah, it's like, wow, Kelsey.
Did the clumsy bridesmaid ever come back?
Describe her.
She's like the only black person. In the
Okay,
entire
yes,
movie.
she's there, and she's the horny one I was talking about. She's the one that's like, ooh, I want to get down with everybody.
And then she dropped a bunch of stuff on her.
She was never clumsy. My
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's really seemed like she was interested in a lot of, like winding up people. So that's cool with
okay.
her.
Good for her.
So yeah, it's the end of the movie. That's Christmas wedding planner. Pretty fucking crazy. Honestly, the more we talked about it, the more I appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like straight up hate it.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, it's been a while since I've seen one of these.
Yeah, it's been a
and
dog's age.
It's been at least a year.
Yeah, it has.
And it's pretty bad. But
Yeah.
it's also
Could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse.
We've seen some pretty bad ones in the
It's
past.
goofy enough that it works. Okay, so the main actor who played Connor, this guy loves being in Christmas movies.
Oh, I mean, it's an easy check.
Yeah, he's been in Navigating Christmas.
Is he always the guy? Is he?
Of course
He's always
he
the
is.
love interest.
He's Prince Henry in A Royal Christmas Crush.
I feel like he could also play a mad like villain. I feel like he could do a good villain job. You know.
Sure. He's like Christmas in Rockwell, Christmas in the Rockies.
All those.
All sorts of them. I guess he's in Supernatural too. But he was also in A Homecoming for the holidays.
Homecoming for the Chris.
A Homecoming for Christmas. Return to Christmas Creek. Hometown Holiday. And right before Christmas Wedding Planner, he did Magical Christmas Ornaments.
Christmas Funeral Planner.
He's been in a lot.
Wow, good for him.
He really is doing that while
the
lady's actually doing what seems like real TV shows and stuff.
Real work.
Yeah.
This was her one blight. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, whatever.
Good for
collect
her.
That easy check.
She's doing something. Good for her. Yeah, I wound up appreciating the movie more. We talked about it. I didn't love it, but I think I at first I was like, this is obviously like half a candy cane, one candy cane. I think I might give this one like 2.
2?
Maybe.
I give it 1.5.
Really? That's rough.
The dialogue in it and the voice. I hate a character that narrates over herself.
Sure.
And when they make a mistake in the movie, they look down and
I didn't get a lot of
and the
that.
narration goes, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
I hate that shit so much. So
That's
I
fair.
give it 1.5.
That's fair.
It's like the first time I think you rated something higher than me.
I've sometimes I can be nice to a movie. Sometimes.
It's very rare.
Not all the time.
It's very
but
rare. You're feeling I'm feeling very Grinch. You're feeling very Santa.
You're very that's true. That's right.
Your
You're
heart
a real
grew
Grinch.
like one whole size, maybe
Watching
half a
this
candy
movie.
cane size.
Because it had a genuinely good mystery. Like I really like the setup of the they're like, oh yes, we had to let go of people. I'm like, oh, that was actually foreshadowing. You know, like oh, it's kind of nice to see a movie care that much. You know,
Yeah, basic foreshadowing, basic screenwriting.
you'd say it is basic, but you don't see that in a lot of movies. You don't see it, especially.
I
in
think
movies
for
like
me,
this.
it's just so obviously telegraphed that it's like
obviously telegraphed. You didn't pick up on it.
that they said they let people go. They mentioned that's the reason they're running
No,
out
but
of
you
funds.
didn't realize that they let people
Oh.
go because of the
That
fact that like
reason.
Todd was sleeping with people.
True, I suppose it's
I think
true.
that's genuinely interesting.
All right.
But although it is based off a book, so maybe I should just read the book. Maybe
You
the
should
book
read the
is
book.
good.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll have such wonderful and amazing lines such as "I'm in the business of love," which is a pretty good business if you think about it.
That's true. I think
pretty
I got
good.
all the good parts of this
Pretty
movie.
good, you know.
I want to see a sequel where Emily's the villain in the next one. She's just like, everything just works out for you, Kelsey.
The Christmas ruiner.
Oh,
The Christmas
yeah.
crasher.
Christmas Crasher. Christmas Wedding
Oh.
Crasher. Christmas Wedding Crasher.
Oh, Christmas
That
Wedding
has to
Crasher.
exist.
Perfect.
Look it up and see if it exists.
That's
Guys, you should listen to our previous Christmas episodes. I'm pretty sure in the last few years we've talked about other Christmas lifestyle, lifetime Hallmark movies. None come to mind right now, but I know we've done it. You can find them on any podcatching app. And while there, please leave a 5-star rating and review. We will read it on the show no matter what it says, even if it breaks up a wedding and it has the word gorgeous in it. And if you want to listen to, if you want to get a hold of us, email us at email@theotherhalfpodcast.com, or you can find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Blue Sky, and we're also on Discord. Ethan, tell me all about
The
it.
Christmas Wedding Crashers.
It's a book.
Is a mass market paperback.
Oh my God.
Called Christmas Wedding Crashers, a holiday romance novel.
Stop the wedding.
Bracket. Stop the Wedding 5.
What the fuck? And the cover art is a cowboy dancing with some lady in a red dress in front of a Christmas tree.
And it says larger print, so it's good for grandma.
Looks like AI generated.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Oh, there's 5 books in this series.
Well, yeah, it has the word 5 or the number 5
the first
in the title.
book, A Bridesmaid to Remember. Book 2, His Brother's Bride. Book 3,
A lot of brides.
A Marriage of Inconvenience.
Oh no.
Book 4, A Sheriff's Valentine. Obviously, you have then the Christmas Wedding Crashers.
Right.
And then you have His Texas Runaway Bride.
Yeehaw.
These all following the same characters? Like,
Is this these all Christmas inspired?
I mean, maybe not. It doesn't sound like it, but I don't know. It's
I also found another book called The Christmas Wedding Crashers, a holiday romance novel by Amy Van.
That's the same movie.
Is this
It's
the same book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a different one. How about The Christmas Wedding Oh, no, that's the same one. How about The Christmas Oh, no, that's the same one.
Turns out they sell in a lot of places.
But there's
This person's gotta make their
no
money.
movies.
No movie,
You
but
need to see that.
there's an opportunity for it. This book was only published like 2 years ago, so
Wait,
they could
I'm
offer
looking
film
up.
rights.
Apparently, there's a movie called Holiday Crashers.
Ooh, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, Holiday Crashers, the movie. There we go, baby.
Oh.
And it's a Hallmark movie.
But it's not about weddings, though, is it?
It's a
Could just
Hallmark
be
movie.
people like
Best
craft.
friends Tony and Bry have worked at the same card shop for many years than they should, as both struggle to find their true life's path. In a holiday season, Tony and Bry decide to shake up their humdrum world by creating new identities to crash Christmas parties. So no, not
Christmas
weddings,
parties,
but Christmas
yeah.
parties.
Yeah,
So
because first off, it's insane to have a wedding on Christmas.
it is. It's not good.
It's
I would
insane.
never do that.
Don't do that. And
I would
then-
never do
So it's
that.
even harder to be like, even the people who were wedding crashers probably are like, I'm gonna be with my family.
You know, I haven't seen Wedding Crashers in a while.
I do not think it holds up.
Good night, everybody.